Okay, so we are here with the North Node, South Node series. Yay! Saturn series is done because that is so depressing. But our North Node and South Node placements are really important in our chart, or important in our chart. So the North Node is basically where we are trying to head towards in this lifetime, what is going to bring us more soul fulfillment, because it's kind of far away from us. It feels kind of scary and intimidating, but it is something that we kind of yearn for and want deep down inside. And it might be the secret sauce to how you actually get what you want in life, if you are actually doing the work or being brave or moving towards this North Node placement, whichever zodiac sign yours is in, as well as which house it is in as well. Those two things are going to give you the clues for your personalized North Node kind of explanation, and always think about your whole natal chart and your unique planetary placements and aspects, and how they combine, and think of the transits that are going on right now in the world. Not everyone is the same age, so things are hitting at different life stages for each and every one of you, and that is going to determine, also depending on what choices you made during those times, what kind of path you're going to be taking. Or what opportunities open up for you or are kind of blocked for you. And our South Node placement is basically where we're super comfortable in. It's like we don't even have to try. It's common sense. It's almost like street smart, like you just know it and you don't really know why, whether you believe in past lifetimes and you've mastered this area in life for many rounds of life, and you got it so down that you are beyond the PhD of your South Node. You could write the book of your South Node placement. Or you can think of it as like just during childhood, you just naturally took on this, archetype and role, without anyone trying to tell you what to do or told you anything. You just did it unconsciously. This is where you are super comfortable. It is, where you kind of cling on to or go to all the time because you just know it. You know it so well. Just like all of us with our strengths and weaknesses, will tend to go towards what we're good at more so than what we suck at, and so don't forget to work on your weaknesses, work on things that you're not the best at, even though you need extra help or tutoring or research and you have to practice, like every spare moment that you have, work on your weaknesses, a little bit. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Doesn't mean you need to master it or anything like that. But this is kind of relating to moving towards that North Node to feel more fulfilled, more happy, getting what you ended up wanting, even though that took you many years, you're slowly just moving in that direction. So your South Node is kind of like you're just so used to doing this area of life so much. You are like the master of your South Node. I forgot what I already said. But your south node is just where you're super comfortable at, where you have lived many, many lifetimes as this archetype. And so you don't need to learn anymore about that. You've done it, you've been there, done that. And now, you're kind of bored spiritually, and you want to try something that feels kind of like out of the box, and that is your north node placement. So it's really good for your spiritual and soul growth, and practicing not staying stuck, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So now we're going to go through each of the zodiac signs. We're going to start with Aries, or first house. So check out both your zodiac sign of where your north node is, as well as the house. Whatever zodiac sign that house, that zodiac represents, check out that area as well for more clues if you are doing the research all by yourself. So good luck, and see you. North node in Capricorn, south node in Cancer. So pretend that you have lived many, many lifetimes as a Cancer archetype, even though your sun sign, moon sign, ascendant sign is something else. So you have basically mastered this Cancer energy, or you can feel like it's common sense to you. It just comes naturally to you. You don't have to think about it. You embody this energy. It's kind of what you grew up in, and now you're moving towards this Capricorn archetype in order to feel a little bit more, fulfilled, happy. It's like a challenge, something that, it's within you. You kind of long for, because you've already done this Cancer thing so many times, and maybe you were just forced to kind of do it, and it was just put upon you, and you did it proudly, but there's something more that you want to kind of accomplish in this lifetime. So having a Cancer south node, the basic things are emotions, all of the emotions, basically being very nurturing, the home, the family, and kind of being like a partner role, or a nurturer, or someone who kind of takes care of people, a caretaker or a parent. Even if you're a child, you could have taken on the role of, a parental figure, even though that wasn't your responsibility. You naturally may have done that. It could be kind of weaving around emotions, not necessarily being direct, kind of going around conflict, because it's kind of scary to think of the crab. Cancer is the crab archetype, and crabs tend to kind of shift around sideways, and they have a hard shell on the outside, but they're still soft and gooey on the inside, and they have their cute little clipper thingies, but they can only reach so far, so they'll try and avoid conflict as much as possible, to not like hurt feelings, or you kind of have to go around things. Like think of a parent or Cancer, it represents, the moon is the ruler of Cancer, and the moon represents the mother. Usually the mother is the nurturer of the parental groups, but of course the father can be a nurturer as well. But in order to nurture all of your children, sometimes you have to kind of maneuver through all of their various emotions. And sometimes your children are not going to have the same emotions at the same time. And so you have to kind of do this weird thing, It's just like a knowingness of how to read and understand emotions, other people's emotions. Kind of, it might feel like a psychic kind of ability of kind of being able to tell, just knowing like how your child feels, even though they're not communicating that. That's kind of what it might be, and you took on that role early on, or you just knew it, and now you're learning or you're being forced to learn. It kind of depends on what's happening for you, what's your natal chart, and your actual choices that you're making in this lifetime. You will feel more fulfilled if you move towards that very intimidating archetype of the Capricorn energy. So, learning how to not just do things because, you're in the mood for them. Even if you're not in the mood for them, you need to go work and go work on your ambitions, go work on your goals, because Capricorn energy is about that long-term goal, that like 50-year plan, or you have to keep working in order to put aside money for your retirement plan. You can't just work a little bit here, work a little bit there when you feel like it, or when you're energized, because you might never feel energized. You might never want to go to work because you're tired, or you just want to relax, or, you just feel like whatever. You feel like baking today or going fishing or whatever it might be. You're like, oh, why? I don't really feel like working. That's fine. I don't want to deal with that. I'll go take the dog out for a walk. It's like, no, Capricorn energy is, hey, like, you have to work. We need to plan on something in order to survive in whatever the society is built up like. It's like, well, we have to think, think of your long-term plan, and maybe think backwards from that long-term plan. How are we going to inch our way towards that, to make it actually happen? Maybe you're not going to be in the mood all the time, but, it's going to learning how to be a little bit more ambitious, learning how to climb that very steep Himalayan mountain that, Capricorn energy is the goat, and learning how to work, be, perhaps a leader, be like an executive, or learning things about like executive ways in order to be very efficient, So if you don't already have these skills, maybe you have to look into like executive coaching, or these little things that might make sense to a Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn, but it might not, you might not embody those habits. Perhaps you might know of these things, it exists, but you're not in practice of doing those things. So being very efficient with your time, setting a schedule, being extra responsible, or, developing your reputation, your public image, your public reputation, because that kind of spreads into how you're seen in the world, how people take you. Are you someone to be taken seriously of? Do they respect what you have to say? If you have a specialty in doing anything. Sorry. Yuki, no eating the flowers. Huh? No eating the flowers. Like learning about time and, being realistic with your time. Like if you want to show that, you're a responsible individual, then you need to show up early, not late. You need to think about, the time you have an appointment, how long it takes to get there. Do you have gas in your car in order to arrive there early? Are you anticipating traffic or not? What do you need to dress for whatever situation that you're entering? Do you need anything? Do you need to be prepped with materials or school supplies or whatever it is that your destination is taking you to? And, did you do your homework for whatever, or are you just simply showing up, because if you don't show up, then nothing is ever going to happen. So learning those things, those kind of skills, and then learning to maximize your time. Like, don't just kind of wander off and be in la la land and not think about anything, or, hearing what the person has to say, but just doing the bare minimum, like that's just not going to cut it. If you have ambitions, or you want to build a business, or you want to become a very well-known public speaker, or you know, whatever your specialty that you care about, that you want to kind of build and pursue. It's kind of building like structures. Capricorn energy is that building of structural systems. So it's like very large, and then there's that trickle down effect of how it all operates, you know, like the machine. Or it depends on what kind of machine it is, but it's usually not just one piece, at least in this day and age. You know, there's all these different working parts, and every part, no matter how small or large they are, they have an important role in order to make the entire system work efficiently and effectively, you know. And so that's kind of learning how to embody those things as a habit within yourself. Not just going based off of your emotions or your emotional responses, or maybe self-defeating yourself by behaving or doing something that is like an emotional response, instead of kind of working through that energy in order to build and create something through that emotion, like using that emotion as a power source to, you know, transform something into something greater or more beneficial or impactful. So it really depends on you and how you are kind of interpreting this, and what are your personal challenges are. You know, you can look at it as like no longer being dependent on somebody else's income. Like the Cancer can be like the mother, like a housewife who is kind of dependent on, you know, her spouse's income in order to survive, because taking care of the children and the dog and the house and stuff is work, but it's not like you get a paid kind of salary usually. So kind of branching off into that Capricorn energy is like, whether you're forced to do it or you choose to do it, well, even if you're forced to do it and you choose to do it, you're still choosing to do it. But maybe, you know, if it wasn't for external circumstances or whatever has happened to you, maybe you wouldn't have been as inclined to push toward this Capricorn energy. But it's basically you moving towards career more, you know, and moving away from family, or moving away from, you know, being so involved and enmeshed with family matters, or like anything more emotional based. You're kind of moving away from, you know, all the ranges of emotions. Oop, it's distracting me. Like moving more towards your career, building your career, moving up the hierarchy, moving up that chain or ladder, trying to aim for more promotions and things like that. Or like building your own business or your own teaching or your own something, you know, where you can kind of be more self-sufficient and not have to depend on other people's income. You know, that can be one thing. Not looking at finances at all, because Capricorn energy loves money, you know, maybe more than the rest of the signs, you know, so it really depends. Like Taurus may love money too, you know, or all the Venus signs love money, because otherwise they can't afford their nice stuff, you know. But so all of that really, it depends. That's always usually the answer is it depends. But it can be like, what if you're like an emotional eater, you know, or you have like a negative habit that you know is not the best for you, like being an alcoholic or going towards drugs or gambling, porn, any of the addictions that you know is kind of limiting yourself or self-defeating yourself, or, you know, stagnating your growth, you know, or your own health, you know, there's but it's based on emotions. You know, you're doing it because you're bored or you're stressed out or you don't know what to do or you don't want to face your emotions. So you move towards these things which are stagnating you. It's not allowing you to climb that ladder, that Capricorn kind of ladder. So if you're stuck there, then you know, if you're willing to do it and climb out of that, create a structure, create a plan that's a long, not only short term, but a long-term plan, and see, like, you know, just try that next level and see how long that you can sustain this simple tweak or alteration in your daily habits until it becomes you, until it becomes this new version of yourself, to where now you might be willing to take it up another notch. You know, this can be the same with fitness, you know, like exercise. Maybe you're not ready for the strict diet part yet because you love food, or you know, that part is more challenging, but you can at least show up to the gym, and you can at least try a little bit harder at the gym, or try something new that is more challenging on your whole physical body, or whatever format that you're more inclined to actually do on a more regular basis and have fun with it. And it's based on kind of like putting your emotions into your body, you know. So you're not necessarily eliminating this Cancer South node, but you are trying to find the balance between that, you know, heavy, dense Cancer South node placement that you're so used to, and moving towards that Capricorn placement, and whatever house that it is sitting in for you personally. Perhaps you are drawn somehow to more Capricorn people, or people who embody that kind of executive, kind of a corporate professional role or management role, or someone who's like a entrepreneur, or who has kind of opened many businesses, or is very professional, writes professional emails, or whatever that may look like for you. Or they're like a consultant, you know, someone who just knows more, and you can learn from these people in order to kind of embody more of that energy or that role, you know. Waking up early, even if you don't want to, getting tasks done, you know, being more like on it, on time, structured, trying to be efficient with your time, having ambition or willpower to persevere through hardship and obstacles, because it's not always going to be a good day. Sometimes you're in pain and you still show up to work, or you still show up to that workout, but that is the perception of what pain is to you. There are some clients that they have showed up to their sessions, and they're like, oh my God, my leg or my butt or whatever, it's so painful. But they move like they're not in pain at all, you know, but they're complaining about it, or they, you know, their tolerance to pain, muscular pain, is much narrower in comparison to mine, you know, because in my perception, if you're really in pain, like what kind of pain is this? A muscular pain, or like a sharp, nervy pain? You know, what is it? You know, and it's usually like a muscular pain kind of thing. Or I, you know, try to tell them you just need to move more. You know, you need to actually do it longer. It takes time. Or you have to find that kind of like uncomfortable part of you to stretch, and you have to sit in it longer. You can't get in a comfortable stretch. You have to get in a slightly uncomfortable stretch in order to stretch the boundary of a more, you know, in order to stretch your range of movement, you know, over time, you know. And I tell them you have to do it, you know, when you're warm, preferably. And then sometimes it's kind of difficult because not everyone has that self-awareness of muscular pain, or how much is too much, because you don't want to overstretch a muscle, and then you have like a little small tear, and that takes a while to heal, and you don't want that either, you know. And I can never feel exactly what other people feel, but their bandwidth of pain and tolerance is kind of smaller, you know. And so it's building resilience to some harder
challenges, harder, discomfort, like, and being able to push through discomfort, even though it's still safe enough. It's not like don't put yourself in actual harm, but you can challenge yourself, and not everyone kind of knows that bandwidth of challenge. It's like, oh, ow, ow, it hurts, or I don't like it, or and so maybe that could be something like you're learning to kind of master and become a little bit more stoic with your emotions, because Capricorns are very stoic, or they become that way over time because they've been through a lot of burdens, and so in comparison to like a Capricorn energy, it's like when people come to them with their problems or complaints and things, it's kind of like, okay, I know, because they already know, they understand, but that's how they were able to get to that level to create something big, depending on if they did or not. So learning to kind of master and control those emotions, and channel it towards something else, and not be all over the place. That can be something that you're moving away from and towards. It could be, it can play out in so many ways. Some of it can be like natural in the human sense, like, you could have a lot of family and you're really close to all your family members, and you're getting older, they're getting older, and so many family members are passing on and moving on, and you have kind of no choice but to focus on either other activities or other friends who hopefully are not in wheelchairs and are also passing on, but enjoy your connections while they're still around. But some people, they have to move towards their Capricorn energy. They feel like they have no choice because so many people around them are passing away, and that depends on what your age range is, and that's a very natural process, but that can happen too, like moving away from family and all of those things, family oriented, and moving towards some other focus because now you have time to do it, and you have nothing better to do, I guess. Even though that sounds really depressing, but it is a very real thing. It can be like, instead of moving from residential real estate, it's moving towards corporate real estate. Because Cancer energy also kind of represents real estate and the home, the physical home, that you nurture things in. And so Capricorn is similar to Cancer, but in a different area. So you have a corporate home and you're nurturing your employees and people that you have hired to kind of work on and work as a team on whatever your idea is, if it is big like that, if you have something like that, because it doesn't have to be, of course. So think of all these executive functioning things. If you haven't mastered those things yet, then those can be little habitual things that you can practice now in order to build and have a really good foundation whenever you find out what you do want to do, because maybe you don't even know what you want to do yet. That is kind of so career oriented. But you have to master those basic foundations in order to be successful, and more resilient, and be able to withhold all the challenges that come into play with, and all the failures, the many failures that a lot of people don't ever see, and all these kind of challenges and trying to figure things out and problem solve and puzzle piece together and find help and outsource or find the best deal, find the best negotiation deal, and all these things, you know, kind of all relate to that. Or you know, reading through contracts really well, or making sure you're, you know, safe and secure with things like that. So yeah, so anything to do with that, I guess. I hope this video helped. If you're interested in other videos, you can check out my playlist. You just click on my name down below, and then you'll go to you'll see a section that says videos, shorts, playlists, lives. And you click on playlists, and you'll see a variety of videos within each section. The other videos that I have up so far, that I've done: ascendant sign, moon sign, Chiron, Saturn. This is my North Node series. Check out your house placement, as well as you know, you have to puzzle piece your own life together. You know, no one has authority of your own life but yourself. And, you know, just take these things as kind of knowledgeable sources that you can use if it applies to you. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. Or maybe in the future it might resonate later on, or you have to kind of check back later. So yeah, so it really depends on you and kind of where you are in life, how young or old you are, you know, or what you're willing to do. Check out my book also. It's on Amazon. Even in Europe, I think you can find it. It depends. But it's called Triggered to Change: A Path to Resiliency by me, Natasha Greenwood. There is a link down below in the comment section, as well as my description section in the page or whatever. There's a direct link there if you can't actually access it. So yeah. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped. Please like and subscribe. It helps boost my channel. Share it with a friend. It also helps boost my channel and get these videos out there. So this way it helps people have deeper insight as to why they are here, or why life is not going the way that they hoped, you know. Otherwise you wouldn't be searching for stuff like this. So yeah. Okay, bye.
La, 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 la.